From guest to regular contributor to presenter. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mark. This is episode 19. You're listening to the Weekly Controversies.
Whoa. Wait just 1 minute. What do you mean host? I'm one of the hosts. What the heck? Get that. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Rob Gold.
Yeah, no, that's not happening. He's not hosting. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Weekly Controversies.
One of these days, the lunatic will run the asylum, and I will get there. Maybe not this week, but I will get there. Thanks for having me on again, guys.
I guess every organization needs a Galway. What?
Still trying to get over the fact you tried to call me Gilbert last week in the outro.
That wasn't me.
All right.
Well, it's good to be back, lads. The Rambler's back, but hopefully I get to entertain the folks who are watching on this beautiful Friday evening and get to listen to me ramble on as I always do. But it should be an interesting episode this week.
Absolutely. We're gonna try and throw out different topics that are happening in the rest of the world right now. We're gonna debate the good, the bad, and the ugly of whatever is thrown out. And I think, given it's fresh and it's the most talked about thing in the last couple of days, it's only right we jump in and we discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly. That is title versus title, Logan Paul, the megastar versus the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So what are we thinking, lads? What sparks the mind with this particular pairing of sorts?
I think
Go on, Rob.
it's an awkward one because this one for me, it's like, as I say, Cody versus Logan Paul, title versus title. But with it being where the event's taking place, obviously Logan Paul's name's always kind of known to be out there for the past couple of years, and his name is quite big over there as well. And you can kind of see why he's been put into that position in that match with Cody. But you know Cody's going to win. And now, would it be a surprise? Of course, it would be a surprise if Logan Paul was to win it. But would it be a surprise in a sense that he actually did go and win it? Because he's carried, okay, maybe he's only had maybe 2 defenses of the United States title, but he's been carrying that belt literally everywhere he goes, and he would do the same thing with the Undisputed Championship. So my guess is, if they do it that way, that's one way, but I can't see why they would just take it off Cody Rhodes in this one.
Did we not just come off a 3.5-year spell of where one wrestler had 2 belts and didn't know what to do with them? So do we really want to go down that road again? Do we really want either Cody or Logan to have 2 belts?
I think Paul Levesque has booked himself in the corner with this one, I think. And it's what to do with 2 guys who have nothing to do with the Saudi show. And he just thought, right, let's put 2 to 1 and let's make it a title for a title match. And for right now, it just doesn't work. And I get Logan has a big following in Saudi, but necessarily you don't really need to put Cody in a wrestling match in this show because it's the king and queen of the ring. I think them 2 matches are the focal point of this PLE, and easily then 2 matches could be called in main events, for that show. You don't necessarily need Cody to defend his belt. He can just have an appearance, on some sort of show like the RKO show or something. We can have something along those lines. Cody doesn't need to defend it at this show. And I feel like Paul has literally put himself into a corner to make him do something. And I think he's making a huge mistake having it a title for title, because don't get me wrong, Cody versus Logan sounds exciting, and it is. But for the stipulation that's gone on, it has really put a dent on this match, in my opinion.
What was the stipulation? Is it the title versus title? Is that the stipulation, or is there another stipulation that's being added?
Well, we've seen on X that, Cody has one more title to win to beat Grand Slam, and it's the US Championship.
US title.
He has stated that this is possibly a title for a title. There's going to be, it's going to be all addressed on Friday Night SmackDown anyway, which is tonight. But I feel like they are going to push that agenda still of, all right, then put each belt on the other person and see who can win both. And it's wrong in my opinion. I just think it's totally wrong.
I'm not convinced this will be title versus title. I mean, it hasn't been completely officially
The
announced.
hints have been dropped though. The way Cody said, "Well, you're coming after my belt. I've never won the US title, and that makes me a Grand Slam champion if I win it." I think they
Yeah,
are going to go down the route of title versus title.
it would surprise me because they are booking themselves into a corner. In terms of debate, I mean, I don't see how any of us would kind of want to. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people would want to see that. I think they're booking themselves into a
I mean,
corner.
the only thing with title versus title in Logan Paul and Cody's case is it's not predictable because we all want Logan to hold the US title because we all want LA Knight to take the US title,
Mm.
and at the same time, we don't want Cody to lose the title because we want Cody to hold on to it so he can have his match at the final boss at SummerSlam or whatever the case is.
Mm.
So
Well, I mean, listen,
is it going to be a case where there's an interference by the bloodline or something like that and it's thrown out, or is
could be thrown out.
the megastars faction going to interfere and cause it to be thrown out or something like that, or does he get caught using nuts and just get himself disqualified?
Could it just be a case of we do lose, Cody loses the title and then he wins it back at Clash, or maybe Drew takes it from Logan at Clash? I don't, wouldn't
Hmm.
But
really
isn't the
mind that.
plan for Clash not going to be?
But you know what? You see them two guys though, and neither of them deserve to lose with the runs that they've got coming up. You know, with Logan's run, it has been memorable for the little, for the less title defenses that he's had. And then Cody's literally only getting fresh off Backlash and his first title defense, and he's getting into a big match like this against Logan. And it's like they could have easily done some sort of like 6-man tag because they're both SmackDown guys. They could have easily have had RKO and Cody versus A-Town Down Under and Logan, and just have a stupid 10-15 minute match where RKO win with Cody. It doesn't really need to be anything serious. It's only a Saudi show. Realistically, when do Saudi shows be actually really serious? They don't be. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not shows you look at and go, "Oh, there could be something major here." But in this case, it's the two tournaments that's going on. That's, to me, is what's selling that PLE, not Cody versus Logan.
Well, and that touches on a point that I wanted to cover about this match. I mean, my thoughts on the match. I think I'm looking forward to seeing it. I agree with the um unpredictable sense. In a sense, if they do champion versus champion, both titles in the line, I really want to find out how they're gonna book themselves out of that corner. So I'm actually kind of keen to see how it goes. But what I'm a bit like, not so keen on that is this show, as you rightly have said, is called the King and Queen of the Ring. And we're getting Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul main eventing. Okay. So
Right.
we want this King and Queen of the Ring tournament to be like seen as pretty big with Triple H's new era. We want there to be stakes in it. We don't just want it to be a generic throwaway tournament. Why are we not having that main event? Why are we not having one of those winners or one of those matches main event the show to actually elevate the King of the Ring to the point where it actually means something? Otherwise, you just got a bunch of people who are declaring themselves for the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, interested in winning a tournament for absolutely no reason. Like,
And I think
nothing to it.
going into this, I was excited about the Queen and King Ring tournament because of the man that was producing it and putting it together, which is Paul Triple H Levesque. And as we all know, it's a tournament near and dear to his heart because it's the tournament that I'm going to say it helped elevate his career because he did win the King and Ring tournament back in the day. And I know there was talk that we bringing back an old school feel with King of the Ring that the winners will get a shot at that brand's respective main titles.
Yeah.
So I mean,
And do you know what?
it
I
has
actually
that big
think,
boy feel, but
yeah, but I don't think it kills that PLE for me. I just think it's badly timed and how it's actually going to be booked out. It's not going to kill it for me. But as what Mark said, it's literally, it's a tournament, 2 tournaments. It's the pay-per-view, PLE, whatever you want to call it, and that should be your either start of the show to the end of the show or your 2 main events. You cannot put Cody on this show and main event as well, because you can't put Cody like mid card or before it, because he's the champion. He has to be in every main event if he puts his belt on the line. And you're like saying that, like, he's having this scramble of matches and going, right, what's the best way to place these lot? Because you can't put Cody in the middle of the card because then that looks weak for him. So I just think I think this is the first big blunder that Paul Levesque has had with booking WWE in his era so far. It's not going to define his booking, don't get me wrong, but it's just a little, bump on the road.
Yeah, I mean,
I
Cody
know.
doesn't main event every single show at the moment. He seems to be on every second PLE, but do we really need him thrown down our faces at the expense
I,
of the
I
tournament
don't,
final?
I
That's
don't, I
what's quite
don't
annoying
think
for
so.
me. Yeah.
I don't think so. And at the same time, obviously being an old school fan, being around when King of the Ring was at its prominent, or as it's now known, King and Queen of the Ring, there was big title matches on it, along with your 4 or 5 tournament matches. Now I know there's not going to be 4 or 5 tournament matches on the King and Queen of the Ring tournament Saturday week, but I like I feel Logan Paul's going to be in place in the match, his title on the line, rather than because if Cody keeps going where he's going when he gets injured, and then he has to vacate the title. And in which case, the finish in the story means absolutely nothing because Vay can beat him and stop the story.
Well, which comes first, Tony? Injury to Cody or the fans turning on him, getting sick of the fact that he's going
But
to be
and
main
some of the fans
eventing?
already starting to turn on him.
And that's my worry because I am a big fan of Cody. I'm delighted
But
to see him in that spot. But
I said this going into 40.
yeah,
I was a John Cena fan going into 21. Then he won the belt and I turned on him. We do it. We're fans, we're marks, we're fucking idiots. It's what we do.
not ready for it yet. But I mean, Cena, Reigns, these guys are really thrown down our throats. Cody is starting to be, and you'd hope that Triple H would learn from the past. Obviously, the difference is John Cena made a lot of money. I'm sure Cody Rhodes is making a lot of money for them as well. Roman Reigns,
And
it came good eventually, but that was due to a heel turn. I'm just a little bit worried if we go down this route with Cody at the expense of things like the King of the Ring tournament. Like even then, Money in the
yeah,
Bank, right? Last year, Money in the Bank was main evented with that Bloodline match. Um, I'd like to see Money in the Bank main evented by the Money in the Bank ladder match, women's or men's. I do not mind, but you want people to you want to you want to build the show for what it's for, and the King of the Ring is for the King of the Ring. The Queen of the Ring's for the Queen of the Ring. But, but I mean, not to dive too much into the way that the brackets have gone anyway, it doesn't really look like we're going to get like a massive final for the men's side anyway that we wanted. So it's like, there's a balance to be struck. And I guess Logan's big in Saudi. Cody's the man they're trying to make a big star. Maybe that has to main event. I'm just not that fan, not that big a fan of it, to be honest.
Yeah,
yeah. I think
like the thing, what the big mistake that like WWE seem to be doing, especially like nowadays, is throwing someone who we think that should be down, like should be getting the big push, and then all of a sudden it's like the fans wanted it, but then all of a sudden a week later it's changed. Like, no, we don't want that anymore. And some fans can be fickle to a point, but at the same time, like yourself, was excited for this Cody run, but all of a sudden it's like now going to the stage where it's getting a bit stale already. Yes, he's going to have different matches and different challengers and things like that, but at the same time, it's like the matches are going to be the same. It's basically like almost like John Cena #2, Roman Reigns, whenever he was kind of doing the same kind of thing over and over and over again, and people were sick of it. And that's the problem that the WWE are going to have and are having with Cody Rhodes being the champion. Now, I like Cody Rhodes, but even if he was given a heel turn with this title, would that change Cody Rhodes? Would that change the fans towards him? I don't know.
But I think the question that has to be asked is, yeah, the match is going to be a banger because both lads can wrestle, but how does it benefit? I
Benefits
think that's
Logan.
the question that has to be asked.
It benefits Logan because Logan, if you think about it, like if he was to lose that, yeah, it would be bad. But it's like he could easily go into another sort of thing with anyone, and he'll make himself look good in any program and any storyline.
But
If you took the belt off Cody, I just think, and I've heard this thing now where, oh well, it's getting stale, and I mean we're not even like a month into a run yet. No, we're not really. We've just gone over a month. We're not even 2 months into it, and it's gone stale, and he's down our throats and stuff. Like, I mean, you can't really say that really because it hasn't really been that long of a run yet. Now, I can understand if it was a year, 2 years, whatever you want to call, but I just think that if Cody was to lose, I think it would be a bad look, because having possibly another still called part timer as your world champion is just saying to yourself, fuck, like we need to just give it to someone who has a lot of voice on on himself, on the product as well. So it's like we give it to the next big thing, which is Logan Paul, because Cody's not doing it at the moment. But I don't think they'll go down that route. I will think that if they are going to go a title for title, that Cody will win. But I don't know, like probably just strip himself off the belt. I don't know. It's so weird the way he's booked this, to be honest with you.
Can I
But
ask?
then
Just,
that damages Logan. Then that damages Logan Paul. Cody wins, and then the next week on SmackDown, I don't need it. Strip me of it, vacate it. Then
Well-
Logan losing was for nothing, and it hurts Logan even more.
how would we feel if this wasn't title versus title? Would we be having a different conversation right now? I suspect we would.
We would,
Probably.
because I think Logan could take the L and move on and still have
Yeah.
all the momentum. But if he takes the L and loses the belt, that momentum is derailed. Because
That's
he's
why.
a part timer. He's a part timer, so he's not building momentum. He's not around.
Which is why I feel like they put themselves into a corner. I think that this match is one I want to see 100%, but I don't want to see it with Logan Paul holding that belt with the potential of losing it, because Cody's not the man I want to take that belt, and he's not the man that any of us, I think, want to take that belt no matter what. That's kind of my worry. How do we protect both if this is to be title versus title? And I wonder if it is a big if.
You see, I actually honestly don't even think it is actually title for title, because like the way I saw SmackDown last week was basically the way that Cody Rhodes, obviously Logan Paul, both in the ring, and it was basically Logan Paul challenging for his undisputed WWE Championship, and that's the way I took it. It was just him challenging for it, and
But
even
did you not listen to the promo? Did you not listen to Cody's promo after Logan?
Well, I did see Cody Rhodes saying about that he wanted to be a
want my
Grand
belt.
Slam
You
champion,
also have something that I desire.
But he only
But
said
he
that
said he wanted the belt.
it. Yeah, but he
He
only
did.
wanted it. But he didn't say
He
that.
said I have something you want and you have something I want. I want to be a Grand Slam champion, and to do that I need the United States title. It's 100% going to be title versus title. They've already booked themselves into that corner. If they turn around now and say it's just going to be for the undisputed title, then Cody's tears for nothing, and it makes the fans turn on Cody even more, which they're trying to avoid. Because right now, if I ask you what you're tuning into SmackDown for week in, week out, you're not going to tell me Cody Rhodes. You're 100% going to tell me the Bloodline. It's the Bloodline is the most entertaining thing on TV right now.
Always are.
Yeah, but I think it's just we could talk all day and all night about this, and it's just something that it's going to be a head record. But when it happens next week, we'll just see how it goes. And that's the only thing we can do. We'll just see how next
And
week
then
goes.
next week when we're doing our preview show, we'll be able to have more of a discussion on it and go in depth and figure out what's what. But you could debate on all night. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? 50% will say yes, 50% will say no. We'll be here till next millennium.
Yeah. But so we'll swiftly move on to the King of the Ring and what everyone's thoughts about, all the people who've advanced to the semi-finals and, who's
The
been put into the
booking was
tournament.
good until this week. The booking
I
made sense
disagree.
till this week. The booking made sense. No. The booking made sense till this week.
I disagree.
The marquee, it's your first King of the Ring tournament with a new person in charge. Your marquee match, your men's final should have been Ilya Dragunov and Gunther, because they'd have knocked 7 shades of shit out of each other.
No,
It couldn't have been, Tony. It couldn't have been.
Match.
It couldn't have been because both men are on Raw, and the final has to be a Raw versus SmackDown, which is the issue. It would have been in the semi-finals, but that's why
Nobody said the final had to be Raw versus SmackDown. The finals had to be 2 WWE superstars.
It does with the way they've done the brackets.
It's the way the bracket is gone, Tony.
It's the way they've done the bracket, so it doesn't make sense, unfortunately. And
So
the
either way, we'd have
reason
got. But if Ilya had have won, we'd have still got an Ilya and gone down to the semi-finals.
on Raw, and they didn't want to blow that on Raw, and that's why.
No.
Listen, I agree with what you're saying, but my debate on it
The
is
semi-finals aren't on
less.
Raw. The semi-finals are part of the King and Queen of the Ring.
It's not. It's on Raw. It's on Raw
But they
next week.
that makes no sense. They fuck all matches for King and Queen of the Ring.
The only
Well, they
matches
never
they
have
don't
any
need
matches.
The
only
last
matches-
the last tournament they did, the semi-finals and finals were on the same night.
Yeah, they did.
They've
But
we've got 5 matches booked for King of the Ring, which is the number that we seem
King
to
and
be
Queen
going
of the
for
Ring.
the pay-per-view. Yeah, the both Kings and Queens final. The women's championship match between Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. You've got the Intercontinental with Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed, and then you've got this champion versus champion match in the final. So there won't be any more added.
no.
100% not. But
But the Saudi
the
shows are usually nearly 5 hour shows though. Unless Paul is cutting down on that as well.
With Triple H,
this one
though,
isn't.
Tony has gotten less up.
This one isn't. So I agree with what you're saying, Tony. I would have liked, or I disagree with the booking, but not for the same reasons. I think having Jey Uso go over Ilya Dragunov clean was a bit meh, to be honest. I think that's where I have an issue with.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't 100% know your how you get around that, because you want to show them both being stars, but neither are infused. Jey Uso will go on to fight Gunter, but having Ilya Dragunov lose that match clean didn't feel right, because you know my thoughts on Jey Uso. I think he's brilliant for the fans. I think the entrance is amazing, but is he as believable a killer as Ilya Dragunov? Does Dragunov need to take a clean pinfall from Jey Uso right now? No, not at all.
And if
I'm,
they're building
I'm
Ilya up,
sorry,
does he need to take a fucking L?
but boys, I'm sorry to say this, but I seen Trick Williams pin him, and Trick Williams hasn't been wrestling that long. And I get it was for the NXT Championship, and this is just a tournament match. But I think this is going to benefit Ilya Dragunov more than you think, because I get Jey Uso's not the best wrestler. He's over as fuck. He's not the best wrestler. He's not Dragunov. We know that. Dragunov is miles better as a wrestler than Jey Uso will ever be. But they don't want to do Gunther right now. They don't want to do it on a throwaway Raw. They want to build a potential rivalry with these two for a World Heavyweight Championship. And there's no way that they are going to put Ilya Dragunov against Gunther, and then we know Gunther is possibly going to win this tournament, and have that sort of be it until, you know, we see them again the following year or whatever. I want to wait until there's some sort of stakes towards it, and a proper stake like a World Heavyweight Championship. That's when I want to see Gunther and Ilya Dragunov. Not now. And that's why they put Jey Uso over. And I don't mind that they did that, for the fact that they did it with Trick Williams. It's not really, it doesn't really make a difference, you know what I'm saying? Like Trick Williams betting, Jey Uso betting. There's losses in WWE,
There's a big difference.
but they're not gonna ruin Ilya Dragunov. It's not gonna ruin him.
But there's
So
a big
I don't really
difference.
mind it. It doesn't bother me.
But there's a big difference there. They built Trick and Ilya's Trick up to beating Ilya for over a year, because he lost to Ilya twice prior to the match where he won him. It was Jey Uso's first match with Ilya, and he put him down without Ilya putting up much of a fight, which is not Ilya's character at all. So it does actually make Ilya look weak in regards to his character that he's portrayed.
Yeah, but I mean, this is also a guy who can easily get that win back, and can also get a win again, and he could go on this brilliant run without the tournament even, you know, needing him
I
to
just
win.
hope this isn't Triple H running out of ideas already for Ilya, and Ilya just ends up in a fucking jobber spot, and he's jobbed out every.
No, it's not. Definitely not. I don't think anyone should think that about Ilya Dragunov. He is gonna be big in the fucking Raw run. He is. It's just all about time as well, because a lot of people will have to get eyes on him, and it's the same what they're doing with Lyra and the Queen of the Ring. I don't think she's gonna beat Io Sky next week, but she's got 2 good wins. She will have eyes on her. She'll get a following, and that's what they'll do with Dragunov. You know, they'll do that with him as well. It's all about building stuff. Hell, they're building this thing now where Braun Breaker should have been in the tournament, and he deserved to be in the tournament, but they never put him in the tournament. They're building that stars in some way, shape, or form, so they're definitely not ruining them.
I actually think that Lyra will end up in the final. She just won't win it. They need to have an excuse to have Idea as Becky's backup.
Mm-hmm.
To have her in the finals gives her an excuse to be in Saudi.
I am glad
Right.
you also brought up the idea of, or the storyline that we have been told with Braun Breaker, because that's the way I would have booked around this. Braun Breaker's that pissed off that he's not able to be part of the match. He's this signing that has been made on Raw, and we're all supposed to be quite excited about it. He's just moved from SmackDown, even though we had that whole big thing about him being on SmackDown ahead of Raw. Why wasn't he that pissed off that he thought, oh, fuck you. I'm stepping in and I'm just causing chaos. Why didn't Ilya Dragunov lose to Jey Uso? Because Braun Breaker got involved, because he's that raging about not being involved in the tournament. There's ways that they could have done this which would have made me feel less uneasy. And like Tony, I am worried because they're booking Dragunov, and they with these promos, with these packages, this like machine, this pain lover who just wants to put himself through hell all the time. And you're telling me that Jey Uso, Mr. Yeet, can go over him clean? Like, nah, it's not believable, and it is a slight worry for me. I think they could have done something with Braun Breaker to protect Ilya Dragunov a little bit, and to make Braun Breaker look strong, because, yeah, we've got big plans for you. Well, what are they then? Why are you not? Why is he not in the tournament? It makes no sense.
Yeah, there's still so many unanswered questions which to me need to be answered, in that regard, because, with that, when that Jey Uso had over Dragunov, and part of me thinks that it has made him made Dragunov weak in that sense. And yes, as Jey said, that he can get that win back again, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, we know he's going to get that win back again because the way that he's been built. But it's going forward. It's like, if you put him in another match and then he loses in the next match, then you'll be like, is this just going to be another jobber story? Because, and you don't want that for Dragunov, because Dragunov, we've seen on the likes of NXT of how Dragunov is and how he wrestles and the way he wrestles, and we all respect what he does and how he does it, and that he wasn't NXT champion for nothing. You know what I mean? So with that being said, he should have been pushed further. But as I say, holding that match off with the likes of Gunther for a big title would be a bigger payoff rather than him just going into the final of a King of the Ring tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we say, he couldn't have been in the final just because of the way the brackets are anyway, which kind of ruins it. Again, I think they've just slightly put themselves into a corner. I think having Ilya and Gunter in the semis was something they couldn't really do because of the TV. They don't want to pay that off on TV. They want to build to that. But then by having, you know, Ilya Dragunov lose at all to Jey Uso in the way that he did, bit meh, considering Jey Uso, the original plan, as far as we're aware, wasn't even for him to be in the tournament because of Drew McIntyre's injury. So, don't know. It all does seem a bit of a mess. But as Tony rightly says, the King of the Ring, or the Saudi shows, are always a little bit strange anyway. Probably due to the audience that they get there. It's just never booked in the same kind of real, almost canon as the rest of the timeline, so to speak. So maybe it's just one that we gotta watch, and they'll make all the money from, and whatever. We just get on with it, leading up to the biggest show that WWE will ever do, at Clash of the Castle.
And then you look over to the other side of that tournament, the Queen of the Ring. And when we talked about first, we didn't have any idea of the women's brackets, at least for the SmackDown side of things. And now we do, and it seems pretty predictable of what way they're going with it. And again, I think that they somewhat booked themselves into a bit of a corner with that.
Yeah.
Why do you think that, Tony?
Well, who's going to beat Jade Cargill? They've
Well,
already
maybe she
built her
was.
to be this unbeatable beast. Who's going to beat Jade?
Perhaps
Jade's
she's.
clearly going to end up in the finals. Jade's clearly going to win the crown.
Yeah,
She
the
should have never
plan was
been in the
probably for.
tournament, in my opinion.
Nothing against Jade being in the tournament. I think they booked themselves into a corner by having her. in the tournament because it means she's going to be in the finals. She's going to have to win
Yeah.
because you can't just have her lose on a random throwaway Saudi show.
Again,
No, I
they put
understand that.
themselves into a corner because bloody it'll be Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair in the semis, and you're like, oh, that's
And does that not contradict you saying they wouldn't put a match that's building up for months on a throwaway show?
well, we haven't seen it yet. Maybe somehow Tiffany Stratton picks up the win. We don't really know how that's going to go, but it does again put themselves
Count out
into a slight
maybe.
corner.
They'll make Jade look stronger. Count out or DQ.
It's just odd. Nia Jax versus Jade is on SmackDown tonight. Tiffany Stratton versus Bianca Belair as well.
You
Tough to
just
call.
don't know, but it is showing that he's just placed everything backwards with the actual tournament, and he just put the wrong matches and the wrong setups. And it's like, that for a Gunther or a Tiffany Stratton to win this would definitely elevate them to be champions then this year. But then you're looking at it
Didn't
and
see
you're
that
like,
coming.
you put in Jade, and Jade is someone that they also want to build up really strongly, and they have her as the women's champion. But yet they're having her in the same bracket as Bianca, where they could meet up, and it's like, why this match now? Same with Gunther and Ilya Dragunov. Why have a match now in a throwaway show? They're pay-per-view matches that can have unbelievable build, and they're putting it in a tournament. It's like, who's placed these wrestlers? They could have easily planned this out better, but it feels rushed. I don't know what you think. It just feels very rushed. It feels like it's just something that they came up on the spot and never really thought about it
Yeah,
as the tournament has gone on.
Yeah,
rushed or thoughtless.
yeah. It's
Don't know,
really
like,
weird. It's like it's really weird because to me, I thought the way it's as if they've thought of everything before the draft as such, and then all of a sudden the draft happened, and then they're putting these, the wrestlers on the shows, and then they put themselves into that corner where they're like, oh crap, right, okay, we're going to have to freaking do something about this. So they've actually put, don't get me wrong, they put decent matches on, but they're putting them on in the wrong kind of way, and in such of a way, as such, rather than like they put them obviously in those tournaments, but to me they've put them on in the wrong sort of setup. But it's just one of those things that I think to me it's almost a bit of a mess because there's ones there that we think that should have been getting the final or should have been getting the semis who can't because of certain other ones who are put into these matches, and you're like, right, okay, well, no, do you know what I mean? What's going to happen with certain ones, but the likes of G going on, and things like that. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. It's just, you know what? And this has been a problem with the King of the Ring and this new Queen of the Ring now for the last couple of years, is that you just don't know what to do with it. And I know it's deep in Paul Levesque's heart, Triple H's heart, and it's great for anyone to build up as a star or a potential world champion. But when you've got so many new, and you have to realize as well, there's so many new guys in these tournaments, and you don't want to make any of them look stupid. Like example, Ilya Dragunov, like you think it looks stupid, but it is that fact of, oh, you're then building up other stars that have been signed, like Jay. Like, can you imagine if CM Punk was in this tournament? Imagine if he wasn't in the world title picture and he was in this tournament. You don't want CM Punk to lose. You'll have to make him win. It's like you have to look at it from a logical sense and like who's going to be better to profit off the tournament and everything like that. And it's like everyone can profit, but then everyone won't be, in terms of, oh, like, I don't like this person, it's not going to be good for their profile, and it literally is a shame because I see Dragunov losing as not that big of a deal because I say he'll still be a star anyway. But then I just look at the women's one and it's as messy as the men's one.
We
It
say
was
this.
almost like
Go on, Tony.
it was. Sorry, Mark. It was almost like they wanted to have a star-studded tournament for Paul's fourth time doing it, and they just picked their biggest names on the male side and the female side, and then realized, oh fuck, what do we do now?
Mm.
When they realised, but it was too late because everyone had already seen the brackets by any chance or any time someone had realised. And now
Yeah.
the end result is: are we going to have a DQ here, a count out there, or
Could be a
You
bit of
just
that. I've got benefit of the doubt though. All I will say is every single time we've had this sort of thought of, oh, not sure what I think of that, or how's this gonna go, or what, Triple H pulls it out of the fucking bag.
Yeah.
So I am intrigued. Yes, it looks like a mess, but I'm sitting there and I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna trust it because this does not feel like, you know, Roman Roman wins law, Cena wins law, or it's not predictable. It is a little bit more, oh, okay, this is a bit odd. It looks like they put themselves into a corner, but yeah, do you know what? Let's go for the ride. You just never know with Triple H's WWE how this actually could unfold. It's obviously a little awkward because it looks like Jade and Bianca are going to have a semi-final matchup. It's too early for them to turn on each other. It just feels a bit odd. Jade, maybe they turn, maybe the turn happens in the final. I don't know. Something like that could potentially be the case. Slightly confusing with why Ilya Dragunov isn't the one to face Gunter in the semis. Obviously can't be in the final, but we know Gunter's probably going to win the men's. But anyway, that's predictable. Stick with it, trust the process. It's probably just a case of we've got a big show to do in Saudi. We need to get, we got 5 matches as we always tend to do for a Triple H PLE. There's some big names that are going to be on there. We're not going to have the bloodline on the on the card in terms of an actual match. We're not going to have a few of the
are there
other ones.
is there not a bloodline member in the King of the Ring tournament?
There is
yeah,
Tamatonga.
Tamatonga.
So he may well be in the final if LA Knight's not the one to go up against Gunter. I don't really know. I'm still really not
Is
sure
Gunther
who's
a
gonna
face,
win.
a heel? What's Gunther's distinction at the moment?
He's a heel.
He's a heel.
Then it'd be LA
Yeah.
Knight versus Gunther. Then
Yeah, but
No, I don't think so.
you've got LA Knight versus Tamatonga tonight, and Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be LA Knight in the final. I think it's gonna be Randy. I think there's
That was my pick last week as well.
yeah, like I think Randy and they still and think about it, like they haven't revisited Cody and AJ. So surely they're gonna have AJ interrupt that LA Knight match against Tamatonga. And then as well, they'll have Tamatonga versus Randy Orton in the final with this whole bloodline storyline going on with RKO. And then Randy wins, and then he faces Gunther, which is a match that we've never seen before, which actually gives me quite excited for the PLE just for that match. And even then, you might think, yeah, I think Gunther will win myself. There's a slight possibility that
Gunter's
Randy
gonna win.
could. There's a slight possibility because now, me personally, I'd save Cody versus Randy for something big as, let's say, next year's WrestleMania, which a lot of people think is going to happen. But there's a possibility they could go down the Cody versus Randy route now instead of WrestleMania and have them two be like two faces, and then just have a throwaway match that could build into the next couple of months and stuff. You don't know. You don't know what way it's going to happen. But then it's like if Gunther wins, you don't want him go for the IC belt again because he's already had that run. So it's like, well, you put him in the world title picture. But then you've got Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. But then you've got CM Punk on that. It's like...
if Orton was flying solo, I'd agree with you. But they're building up Orton and KO as a tag team. So I don't see Orton winning the tournament for that reason alone.
Yeah.
I see A-Town down under getting involved and screwing with Orton like they have been, and Orton uses that way. And then that will then build up Orton and KO against A-Town down under for the tag titles.
Yeah.
I do think it'll be LA Knight for the simple fact that you all said he needs momentum.
Yeah.
Going into a big marquee match with Gunther, even if he loses, he still has momentum. Going out with that to be able to still challenge for the US title, which is the belt he's all wanted to take.
I agree,
because-
but I
yeah.
don't see LA Knight going over Tamatonga. That's my issue. I think Orton has an easier run maybe to the final. And I think Gunter versus Orton is a real exciting, should be main event match for that pay-per-view as well. That is one that I would want to see. That is one that a big win as well for Gunter, who would then hopefully go on and say, well, now I'm King of the Ring, I'm going to challenge for the main title or the championship at Bash at Berlin or whatever it would be. But it means more to probably go over Randy than it would LA Knight. LA Knight's got the issue of the bloodline in the quarterfinals tonight. He's got to go up against Tama Tonga, and I don't really know how they give any. Well, how does anyone go over the new bloodline right now? They're building them up to be monstrous. They probably have to. They may not lose matches for months, given the story they're trying to tell there. That's why I think I'm leaning towards Orton.
Unless they get themselves disqualified, which we've seen them do.
Yeah, could be something like that.
Interesting. Because I think as Chelsea Green once said, this is a bit of a hot mess in a sense, like with all this going on at the minute, like with the King and Queen of the Ring, because of obviously with certain ones that, I mean, you look at LA Knight, like his match, like even like over before the semi final as such, wasn't even televised. It was a live event match, and I thought that was a bit sort of weird considering how. Not just because of how popular LA Knight is, because he's like one of the biggest draws for WWE whenever they show up to town. So it's like to have him not on TV, and that's a bit of a blow to him. Takes it away a bit of his momentum, sort of thing. So to see him go up against Tama Tonga for the semi final, as Mark says, I find it hard to see how, as much as I would want LA Knight to get to that final spot, it's hard to see, in a sense, Tama Tonga not winning, but at the same time, why would you push Tama Tonga so quickly, so early on in his career, just because he's a member of the bloodline, rather than someone who's, has been pushed for the past couple of years?
Probably give an answer to that one. So, in regard to the push and King of the Ring, with Tama, it kind of makes sense. Because after all, his father was King Hakeo at one point. So King of the Ring has a family tie into the Samoan dynasty.
Probably use that as part of the story, I guess. It's odd. The SmackDown
Not another
bracket is
fucking
odd.
story.
Yeah. The SmackDown bracket is harder than the Raw. The Raw is so clear. And the winner will be super clear that the Gunter 100% takes it. We knew that the winner from the Queen of the Ring would be from SmackDown, and it probably will be Jade Cargill rather than Bianca, if I'm honest. Although, am I right? Is Jade Cargill on Raw or SmackDown?
SmackDown.
Okay, the link I've got slightly got it wrong. I don't know if they're 100% doing the Raw and SmackDown.
She can be on both
Right,
because she's
but
the women's tag champion.
that's probably why. That's the way I see it going, and that I guess that's me finally answering your question that you asked me last week, Tony. But yeah, in terms of booking themselves into a corner with the way that they've booked the tournament, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just have an issue, a deep-rooted, for some reason. I don't know why I've got such an issue with Jey Uso, but I feel like I talk shit about him every time I'm on. Entrance only. The match against Dragunov was decent, to be honest, but I wasn't keen on the winner.
Here's a thought. All right, so obviously we're all saying that Gunther is going to be more likely going to be the winner, but this is a what if moment. You've got Tama Tonga, who could possibly go through against LA Knight, but then on the other hand, you've got Jey Uso on the Raw side of things going through there. So you would have old bloodline versus the new bloodline in the final.
I don't know if they're gonna do that right now, Rob. I don't think they will do it this early. If anything, they will do it noon up to SummerSlam if it's true that The Rock's gonna come back by then and face Cody. But it's gonna be weird because if it is for title against Logan, he's gonna have the US belt, which I still think is ridiculous. But I will point out something though. I think, and this is just my biggest issue with King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring, to where it's placed. It's the time of it, and I wouldn't have minded this tournament if it was probably straight after WrestleMania or straight after, let's say, the next coming month, SummerSlam, where it could be a fresh new thing, where you could build new storylines. But they've had Backlash, they've built up all the storylines, and I think that's why we're having this discussion on it being possibly so messy, and they don't know what direction that's going, and that's why Triple H is putting himself into this corner. And it's like, if you were to have it where it can be right for everybody, and it can be where you can build new storylines and stuff, then we could be saying here, oh, this is brilliant, this is great TV. But now it's like, all right, then, what they're gonna do, because we're all, it's not anything positive, if you ask me, when we talk about this tournament, other than Gunther winning. But then I still see it as, well, Gunther's in a sandwich between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, but then you've got CM Punk on top of that. So it's not, to me, it's not going to be beneficial for even the fans to watch, because you're going to be like going like, what are we watching here? What's going to be going on? What are they going to be doing? It's not like they're like, hey, don't get me wrong. To me, King and Queen of the Ring is always being like, yeah, you win the tournament and then you get a world title shot. But if they don't like what they did at NXT, where it's like an actual book, a contract, like the breakout tournaments, and then you can cash it in at any time, then I'd probably go, wow, that's actually very, very interesting, like a Money in the Bank. But I don't think
But
that
you've already got that. You've already got that Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
I know that. But
That's
if
why they do the whole breakout thing in
well,
NXT, because NXT haven't got Money in the Bank.
No, but do you remember? I know it's gonna sound so mad, but do you remember the NXT reality fucking one anyway? And when it was like that for 3 seasons, it's like whoever won that tournament in any moment, in any pay-per-view, at any time, got a world title picture, got a world title match, and everything. I think they could do something like this with King of the Ring, where Gunther can go, no, I'm gonna wait and pick my opportunity, and then I'm gonna go, right, I'm gonna face you at this pay-per-view. But to me, it's always been like, it's the next pay-per-view afterwards when they have that match. But like, sure, after King
It's usually not the next pay-per-view. It's usually SummerSlam.
yeah,
It's usually King of the Ring was two events before SummerSlam.
Yeah, but the next pay-per-view after that is Clash of the Castle, where they're gonna have Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. So it's literally so messy. That's why I have so many complaints about it.
But it's how they used to do it. King of the Ring was always 2 events before SummerSlam, and the winner would always get a shot at SummerSlam.
Yeah, but
They didn't try and tell the story with the person that won.
I can imagine that this is exactly how it would happen, Jamie, as you've outlined. But I think Gunter would be like, no, I want it at Bash of Berlin.
True, but you have the consideration of CM Punk coming back, because he's going to be coming back very soon.
I don't think you'll interrupt Berlin.
No one thinks so, no.
No, they can't have a show in Germany and for that not to be where Gunter gets his title match.
Yeah, and I do agree. Like, if he had that and it was against Drew McIntyre and he won, that would be brilliant. Put that as even the main event.
No, come on, no.
No, I know.
No, we're talking.
Now we're debating.
Yeah, whoa, where'd that come from? What's Drew ever done to you?
I mean, if they're really gonna keep this Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, rivalry going on, then I wouldn't have CM Punk anywhere near that world title. I'd have him screw Drew McIntyre as what they're planning to do, to break his heart. Do you get me?
Mine.
You see, this could be the thing where they give Drew the title at Clash at the Castle. CM Punk interferes in a match between, say, Gunther and Drew, and makes Gunther win the championship against Drew at Bash in Berlin.
Yeah.
Rather than screw him at Clash at the Castle, because then you're gonna get. Could you imagine you're gonna have 15 to 17,000 fans basically booing the place down if CM Punk was to screw Drew? This is where Drew should be getting his moment. Yes, he had his WrestleMania moment this year, but to have his moment taken away from him after 5 minutes, going into this match here, where he'll win the championship in Scotland, in Glasgow, in front of his friends, his family, the WWE Universe in attendance worldwide, and then for him to gain just after that, basically, pretty much like Gunther at Bash in Berlin, with CM Punk screwing him there rather than a Clash.
I only just thought of some on the spot. Can you imagine? Because we still got Money in the Bank to come, yeah? That's in July.
Yeah.
That's in Canada. Can you imagine if Punk won that? Can you imagine if Punk won that, right? For the third time and catches in on Drew. Can you imagine that? That actually would be the best thing in WWE. Actually would be like, now that is breaking someone's fucking heart. And that's real. That would be breaking someone's heart. Imagine doing that twice on one guy. Oh, I think he's going to go get EW.
Last time I decided to come on to the Weekly Controversies. Thanks for having me, everybody.
The whole thing with Drew is he's angry because he keeps getting screwed. So it makes more sense for him to be screwed in his hometown than it does for him to win it.
Mm. It's like the man can't get a world title run. It's like CM Punk keeps screwing him.
WWE, do me a favor. Stop screwing Drew. That's it.
Dirty bastard.
It's not WWE. It's the worst thing about it. It's not even WWE screwing Drew. It's Drew screwing Drew.
Exactly.
Yeah, literally.
After all, it was Drew who chose to get in CM Punk's face rather than walk up the ramp.
You're all just marks.
No, you're Mark. I'm Tony.
You're Mark. Yeah, we're not Mark.
6 Marks podcast.
So it wouldn't be surprising me if this is
the 5 Marks plus 10.
But, yeah. Listen, it's gonna be interesting as it always is, because that's the one thing about WWE which I do like. It is interesting, but it's gonna be one of them. It could be either a great thing, and we'd be eggs in our faces and go, "Oh fuck, we were wrong," or we could be proved right, and it's like they backed themselves in the corner. Everything felt very rushed and not prepared or planned. But all we can do is just sit back and just watch how it goes. Because we're wrestling fans, we're not bookmakers, we're not bookmakers, we're not writers. But we could just enjoy the wrestling and be entertained.
And under Triple H, I'm more than happy to sit and, like I say, stay along for the ride. You just don't know with this. It's not the same as it used to be 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where we're going into these thinking, not so sure about that, and it went the exact same way that we were scared of. This is different. Stick around. You might just be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. But honest to God, this has been a good episode. It's been a good chat. We're definitely going to be previewing it properly next week, when all the matches are confirmed, and then we kind of know what they're going to be doing with Cody and Logan. We're definitely going to go deep dive on that. It's good to be back, by the way, everyone. It's good to be back. I feel great, if anyone wants to know. And we can't wait for next week's episode where we can go deep dive into the King of the Ring. So I just want to thank Mark, as always, for coming on as you do every week. Tony and Rob for being the 2 best co-hosts that anyone can ask for. I have been J.R. Brown. This has been Weekly Controversies. Signing off.